So you're over 40 and you want to get back into fitness, however, you don't know where to start. This is why you're watching this video. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down how to do a functional kettlebell workout that you can write on your own and be able to kind of create and craft your own workout. So when it comes to working out and we're doing a functional kettlebell workout, what we want to do is we want to begin with a warm-up. I'm gonna show a link where you can go ahead and find that warm-up, but it's important that we start with warming up because you're gonna prep the body for movement, but more importantly, you're gonna get yourself ready for this workout. So I won't dive into the warm-up because you'll find that link, you can watch that video there, but after you're done warming up, you wanna start with the first exercise being a core exercise. And with core exercises, the reason I like starting there is because it's kind of priming and prepping the body for the rest of the workout. The more you can stabilize your core, the stronger you can be throughout your midsection, the more freely your joints move. There's a thing called proximal stability for distal mobility, fancy words for, hey, if I'm stronger in my core, my joints move more efficiently. So when it comes to your core exercises, you can pick a variety of things. You can start with any variation of a plank. You know, there's great benefits of doing a plank. Next, you can do a kettlebell dead bug. Now with that dead bug, the emphasis there is training the core and making sure that the hips are moving with coordination. Next up, you can go into halos. Halos are a great exercise to help you get the torso to stay still while rotating the shoulders around, so you get a little bit of shoulder mobility throughout that movement as well. Then lastly, if you want to target the lateral core, aka the side of your core, you can be doing a chop and lift. And chop and lifts are great to build up core strength and shoulder mobility as well. So when it comes to this first exercise, we want to do anywhere from 2 to 3 sets, and rep ranges can range anywhere from 6 to 10 reps, give or take on what you're doing. From there, we're moving into the hip. So with the hip, there's a variety of exercises that we can do. Again, we're looking at kettlebell specific. So we can start with a kettlebell deadlift. We want to emphasize strengthening those hips. To make sure that we can get balance involved, you can also move into single leg deadlifts. Those are really good to do, and again, tremendous carryover when it comes to your balance. From there, we can start moving into more explosive movements such as a goblet clean. This is a great precursor to use prior to building up to a kettlebell swing. Nonetheless, you get upper body and lower body involved there. Then lastly, the king of all kettlebell exercises, in my opinion, is a kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swing is great for building up endurance, building strength, and just overall great for low back health. Now, when it comes to this series of exercises, your sets are going to range anywhere from 2 to 4, and rep ranges can go from 6 all the way up to 12 and even more. More so specifically when it comes to those kettlebell swings or goblet cleans, you might be seeing a higher rep range. Once we've worked on the hip, the next thing that we're focusing on is the knee. So when it comes to the knee, obviously we always want to do a version of a squat. For demonstration's sake, we're looking at the kettlebell goblet squat. From the goblet squat, we want to make sure that we're focusing more on balance with the knee specific exercises. So we're going to have exercises such as the goblet reverse lunge. Such a great exercise to do because again, you're building up the strength and the balance at the same time. Then we also have a split squat. That split squat is more of a stationary lunge where we're really isolating the movement stationary, where you can really target balance as well without it being as dynamic as the lunge. Then lastly, if these two are not feeling the best, step-ups are a great exercise to do to strengthen balance and the knee without having any type of pain. Most commonly, if you're having knee pain throughout the lunge or split squat, or your balance is really challenged, I like going with a step-up. Now when it comes to those sets and reps, very similar to the hip, we're going to go anywhere from 2 to 4 sets, and then your rep range will be anywhere from 6 to 12. I like looking at the lower end numbers on these single leg exercises just because they're so demanding. From there, we're moving into chest and shoulders. So when it comes to the chest and shoulders, one of my favorite exercises to do is a kettlebell floor press. The floor press is very similar to a dumbbell bench press, but we're using a kettlebell instead, and you're using the ground to act as your bench. And so with those, I like building up the chest. With those, just make sure that palm's facing inward. You don't want that palm outward. That'll irritate the shoulder. From there, push-ups. Bodyweight push-ups are just such a great exercise to have in. There's a lot of varieties that we can do with them to make them easier or harder. If you look through the channel, you'll be able to find a progression on how to get to your first push-up if you're struggling with push-ups. From there, I like doing the half kneeling kettlebell press for strengthening the shoulders. The first two exercises we're emphasizing the chest, now we're looking at the shoulders. Half kneeling kettlebell press is great because if you don't have the best shoulder mobility, this exercise here will help you get to that. But most importantly, you got a lot more core exercise in a half kneeling position just because you have less stability from a standing position. Which leads us to the last exercise in the chest and shoulders area, which is a standing kettlebell press. This is your standard press. I feel like once you get to a point where you're strong enough in the half kneeling press, going into the standing press is the next progression up, and it does challenge the body a little bit more than it does in that half kneeling position. When it comes to sets and reps, very similar. We have 2 to 4 sets, and then we have 6 to 10 reps here plus. So when it comes to chest and shoulders, can you hit a little bit higher? Sure, but just kind of see where your tolerance is at. When it comes to the pressing overhead, keep it a little bit lower, but again, if your body can tolerate it, by all means, go ahead and bump it up. Then for the last area that we're gonna emphasize here is the upper back. So when it comes to the upper back, I like doing single arm rows. You get a lot of core balance here, core stability, but also balance at the same time in this rowing exercise because you're strengthening the upper back, but the position that you're in challenges the body to be in the right position to really challenge the core and your balance. Next up is a 3-point row. The 3-point row acts as a support for the body. So if you're too challenged with the single arm row, by all means, going into the 3-point row, you get the bench to support your body, to emphasize the pull of the upper back and the traps and the bicep as well. So it's a good place to be just to get heavier rows or just to have a little bit more balance. From there, looking at the bent over row. The bent over row can be challenging for some people, more so particularly the low back. So if your low back is not a friend of the bent over row, by all means substitute it for one of the other row variations. Then lastly, gorilla rows. So prior to the bent over row, if you're having a hard time there, gorilla rows act like a more supported position because the bellows are on the ground. You don't have to stay upright in that position to stabilize through the core like you do in the bent over row, but the gorilla row, you get the support of pushing one arm into the floor as you pull the opposite arm up to get the upper back to be engaged, but also supporting the body throughout that. When it comes to your rep range, your sets and reps here, sets 2 to 4, reps anywhere from 8 to 12, and you can go even more with those, just depending on how your body tolerates it. Then at the end of your workout, you want to go to the cool down. I'll also give a link up to that. And you always want to make sure that you do a cool down because it just gets the body to relax, you stretch out tight muscles you worked, and you lower your heart rate down. So let's break all this down and summarize it. So when it comes to training, especially if you're doing functional fitness, if you're doing kettlebell workout, especially if you're over 40, you need to be doing a workout like this because it covers the entire body. Right, this is a total body workout where we work on the core, we work on the hips, we work on the knees, we work on the chest and shoulders and the upper back. You put these 5 exercises or movements into a category and you just fill them with exercises that replicate what you're doing with these movements. The best thing about this is this workout in total, following the sets and reps and all the exercise here, should take maybe anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes at most, and you only have to do this 2 to 3 times a week. And I think that's what's a really critical thing, is you're reducing the amount of time spent at the gym. And for most people, what they'll do is they'll separate each category into one day. So one day you might have chest and shoulders, one day might be a leg day, the next day might be a back day, the next day might be a hip day. So you're separating all these different categories of movements and exercises into one isolated day, which can lead to overuse. It can also cause severe soreness, not like detrimental, but enough to like make you hurt going up and down the stairs or function the next day, which isn't a sign of benefits. So rather than focusing on isolating these areas and these exercises, put them all together, spread it out 2 to 3 days a week, and you have a total body workout, reduced amount of time, and you get time back to do whatever you want. So this is how I typically would write a workout for most of my people. What you're not seeing on here is some mobility exercises, and I like to throw those in throughout the series. as active recovery. So you can focus on lower body and upper body mobility throughout the workouts as rest periods in between. So this is how I would write a workout. This is what I look for. This is what I do. And so if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and take this apart, use it into your own, try one of these workouts, just plug and play with these exercises and go from there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.